Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty 360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. Wanted to welcome you back to our Loyalty Expo preview series. In this series, we will hear from the presenters who will join us at this year's Loyalty Expo in Orlando, Florida, from June 4th to the 6th. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Don Smith. He's a Chief Consulting Officer at Capillary. Don, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. First off, can you give us a brief introduction to Capillary, what you guys do as an organization, and would love to know your role with the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So Capillary is a leading services firm that does everything from soup to nuts, really, for customer loyalty and engagement. Started out, Capillary is headquartered out of Bangalore, India. They've been at this game for over 15 years, developed what we think is the best-in-class software product. It's a SaaS solution, right? Designed to host loyalty programs, engagement solutions, and really handle everything from configuration all the way through communications, adaptive modeling, and AI. It's feature rich. It's a wonderful platform. In fact, it was recognized by Forrester in the most recent wave as having the highest functionality of any of the vendors currently in market. But Capillary has been through a series of acquisitions. And as you know, Mark, I came from Brierley, which a lot of folks are familiar with, 35 plus years in the US market. And we were really acquired so that Capillary could bring on our consulting capabilities around program design and strategic consultation around optimizing and making programs and solutions better and work even harder. And that's where I kind of fit in. My role as the Global Chief Consulting Officer is really to lead program design, but also to just go in and work with our clients and their data and make those data assets work hard and deliver great end results. And that's really my passion, is building great loyalty programs, but also making great programs better and continuously perform and optimize.
Excellent. Metrics are a very relevant topic for brands these days, understanding the kind of what KPIs they should be looking at when it comes to their customer loyalty efforts. One of the things that I know you have a deep level of expertise in is looking at both behavioral as well as emotional metrics, and making sure that a brand, when they look at the KPIs that they should be focused on, has a good understanding of both. Can you tell us briefly why both are necessary to get that holistic understanding of a customer loyalty program?
Oh, absolutely. And I think we've done a lot of research on this at Brierley and at Capillary. And it's both things. A program has to deliver on its value promise, right? It has to do something for the customer, but as importantly, the program's got to deliver for the brand. It has to deliver ROI. Every dollar that we're spending or investing in a program has to result in incremental revenues. It has to really, and that spending has to be amortized over an extended customer lifetime value. And so really those components we've got down. And in fact, in the workshop that we're going to be doing at the Loyalty Expo, we're going to start with a scorecard and benchmark that's really primarily performance-oriented objective measures. And we're going to walk through a lot of them and really give the folks who attend a whole list of what the best measures to look at are, as well as some of the benchmarks. And I think it's going to be awesome because I know at the Expo this year too, the brand, you all got together with your advisory committee and also cooked up some metrics and some guidelines. So I think folks who attend are going to be swimming in benchmarks and really good context from this. And I think that's going to be welcome news because folks always want these. We're going to walk through them, and we're also going to talk through the common pitfalls in measurement that I think a lot of errors where folks don't go deep enough with the metrics to really make them sort of squeeze out some actionable insights. We're going to talk about how to do that. But the other half of your question, Mark, really speaks to emotional loyalty and larger engagement. And look, if all a program is doing is going, I'm delivering on a value promise, do this, get this, it can work, but it won't work nearly as hard or keep its power as a program that's building an authentic connection with customers and members that extends well beyond a transaction. And that's the power of data. You set up a loyalty program, the consumer value proposition initiates the relationship, it gets us good data. But then the social contract really is, we need to take those data assets and really personalize with them and manufacture a better relationship with the member and identify ways to make her experience truly better and to deliver truly authentic content. And I think that's really where emotional loyalty comes into play. And we've got a great measure. We're going to talk about how to do that. And actually, at our workshop, we're going to show you how you can get started with your own emotional loyalty measurement. But we're also going to talk about other ways to frame and score engagement in different ways as well.
Excellent. Who would benefit most from attending the Capillary Loyalty University metrics session at the 2024 Loyalty Expo?
Anyone who works with a program, anyone who works with program data and is responsible for it. And I think that applies to multiple roles. I mean, ideally, someone who's a program manager or a director or a VP who owns the program and who finds that they're continuously having to justify the program, explain what's working and what's not, and marshal support for how the program is doing and measure that would absolutely benefit from this. But honestly, an entry-level data analyst who's just getting started with her or his career, or someone who doesn't have any experience in analytics, because this is being taught to a lay audience. We're not going to get super technical. We're just going to talk through the substance in lay terms. So I really think it can run the gamut from new person to loyalty all the way through executive.
Excellent. When you look at the session itself, what are a few key takeaways attendees can expect to learn by attending this session on metrics?
Yeah, I think they're going to look at a lot of the metrics that we have in the scorecard and they're going to go check, check. Oh, that's a good one. But I think what they'll also take away is, you know what? I said check, but I wasn't really going deep enough. I haven't really interrogated those metrics in a reasonable way. And one of the sessions of the workshop is called Interrogate the Usual Suspects. And we're going to look at things and go, okay, so you're measuring retention. But guess what? Retention is not a dichotomous concept. If all I'm doing is say a customer who shopped last year came back and shopped this year, she was retained, I have a 50% retention rate, I'm not going nearly deep enough. What I really need to understand is what happens in that retention over time and how the velocity progresses. And that's where we're going to go deeper. And then you can start looking at it going, oh, I have a good retention rate. But wow, a third of my customers decelerated their spending dramatically, and only 20% of them increased their spending at a concomitant rate. This is why I'm seeing some of my numbers down. And more importantly, this is how I start to use segmentation to interleave within that and come up with an actionable narrative as a result of looking at that retention. And we're going to do that with a number of these different metrics. So I think the takeaway is I was doing it, but I could go deeper. And there's some low-hanging fruit I can pick with that data.
Absolutely. And last question, leading up to the session, a lot of talk now about incrementality, the kind of the economic uncertainty we're seeing. Yeah, some industries more so than others. Incrementality is very important. You talked about deceleration in spending, and the difference between retention, keeping them involved in the program, and keeping their spending, at least in a similar manner that it was before. What is the biggest opportunity and or challenge that you see right now with regard to metrics that brands have?
Yeah, certainly ROI and incrementality fall to the top. And I think, but you know what? It's as instead of, and we're actually going to do a section in the workshop on different ways to measure the incrementality of a program and how you triangulate. We're going to talk a little bit about cohort analysis, regression analyses, and some of those can be a little bit heavy lifts. But the good news is some of these challenges you can chip away at earlier on. And so one of the things we'll look at first when we talk about interrogating the usual suspects, most folks know what their accrual transactions look like versus their redemption transactions, but often they're not disaggregating those basket types across the events and really understanding what's happening in a redemption transaction. Am I actually getting redemption stretch? Where the member looks and goes, wow, I've got an extra 10 bucks or 15 bucks today. Not only am I going to shop, I'm going to stick incremental items in my basket because I've got extra money to burn, or is that redemption transaction truly incremental? Or is the brand making it up on the flip side with a lot of accrual stretch to get to a highly aspirational reward? Those are the things that you have to diagnose and look at, and they are the early indicators of incrementality and that the program mechanic is delivering on its value promise. And the good news is they're really easy to measure. But in our experience, most brands aren't doing that, or at least not doing it deep enough. Come to our workshop, we're going to show you how.
Excellent. Well, Don, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us today. It's always inspirational and educational. Getting a chance to talk with you. Your passion for the industry is among the most passionate. I don't know if that's the right saying in the industry. You are one of the stalwarts in the industry. Looking forward to hearing your presentation, and it should be amazing.
Thanks, Mark. We're looking forward to the conference. Hope everyone comes.
Excellent. Everyone for listening, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. And for those of you who have not registered for the conference, make sure you check out the Loyalty Expo. We have a cadre of great sessions pertaining to all facets of customer loyalty. We'd love to have you here, and you don't want to miss Don's session. Looking forward to seeing you all in Orlando. And until then, have a wonderful day.